Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Family Law Talk, presented by Kirk Stange of Stange Law Firm, PC. Stange Law Firm is a family law firm in the St. Louis metro area, with offices in Missouri and Illinois. Now, here's your host, Kirk Stange.
Welcome to Family Law Talk. Today we've got an exciting episode for all the listeners. The title of the episode is Getting It Done Right versus Getting It Done Quick. This is kind of an age-old question that is not only found in the legal field, but probably lots of other fields, lots of other industries as well. It's a big debate in all kinds of areas out there, really, which is get it done right versus getting it done quick. That's the topic. Is a follow-up to the episode today. You can go to familylawheadquarters.com. We have an article on this topic as well. The title of that article is, For Most, Seek the Best Possible Result. And there's actually a hyperlink on Black Talk Radio that you can click. It'll take you directly to the article. It's an interesting article. The date of the article is January 30th, 2015. So you can definitely go check out that article and read that after this episode if this is an episode that was interesting to you. All right, well, we're going to get into that topic, but before we do, I will state, as I always do, that the choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely upon advertisements, and that the information you obtain today in this episode is general in nature, and it may not apply to specific factual or legal circumstance. Therefore, if you need legal advice, you should definitely consult an attorney who's licensed and competent to practice law in your specific state. All right, so, again, let's get to the topic, which is getting it done right versus getting it done quick. Obviously, when family law cases begin, for lots of individuals, it's painful, not a good experience. They didn't want the situation to happen. In a lot of ways, it causes people to reflect back on how they got where they got. I mean, when folks get married, they have kids. Most are going into these relationships thinking it's going to be forever, and then all of a sudden you're going through a family law case, and you're like, oh, my goodness, what happened? How did we get here? And that can cause people, in a lot of ways, to want to make it end very quickly, very fast, and that is kind of their mentality in terms of the situation, because they just want to close the chapter as quickly as possible, move forward with their life, and really try to forget about how they got to this situation. And so, again, that's the debate, which is better to get it done quick or better to get it done right. And again, the article that we have on Blog Talk Radio sort of has the general take in terms of the way we look at these situations. But obviously, every situation is different, and different folks have different priorities. Different folks might have more at stake in terms of a family law case. So, there are some cases where maybe some individuals feel as if the results of the case might not impact them that much. I'll give you a couple of examples. It could be a case that was a short-term marriage, maybe, not a whole lot of assets. So we'll see divorces like these sometimes where there's just not a whole lot there. In some instances, the people might not own much of anything. Maybe they rent an apartment. Maybe they have a couple vehicles and the stuff within the apartment, but that's about it. Obviously, that can lead some people more down the getting it done quick path versus getting it done right, because there's just not a whole lot at stake, and they figure they can make up whatever shortcoming there might be later, and it's just better for them emotionally or whatnot to be done with the situation as quickly as possible. Some instances where there's no kids, in those cases, that might take some folks more down the get it done quick path. Again, you're just talking about money and assets. If there's not a whole lot of assets and there's no kids in the case, that can cause some people, again, to feel as if getting it done quick or efficiently is really better at the end of the day than worrying, is it exactly 50-50 in terms of how things are being split? Is it exactly fair, or is it close enough and just better to kind of move on? So, look, there's some people in that camp, some people with those unique factual situations where it doesn't really make sense to have a long, prolonged case. You spend a whole lot of attorney fees, and, of course, if there's not a lot of assets, it can be a situation where you end up spending more in fees then at the end of the day, really, versus what's at stake in the case, right? So, fighting over items inside of an apartment or something like that, the attorney fees might cost more than these assets that are being argued over. And so, again, some cases get it done quick, but On the flip end, there's a lot of folks out there who have acquired lots of substantial assets, and they have kids, and so child support becomes an issue in the case. In some cases, spousal support becomes an issue. You might be talking about retirement accounts, investment accounts, other assets. And in these cases, folks have lots at stake, and in fact, the end result of the case might impact them and their family for years and years to come and beyond. And so these folks, they are presented oftentimes with kind of the same choice, which is there might be settlement offers put on the table early in the case, but maybe those aren't particularly fair offers out there. So they get put in a quandary of trying to decide, do I take this offer? It's on the table. Would get this case done quickly. I wouldn't have to spend a whole lot of time in court. Maybe no time in court. I mean, some cases can be ended by affidavit in certain jurisdictions. So, less attorney fees, less time in court, get the case done quick. And so, that option is presented, or they're presented with really moving forward in the case. They've got kids, there's assets at stake, there's child support at stake, spousal support at stake, other big issues, and there's going to be a long-term impact. And so, to these folks, they've got to weigh the getting it done right component, which is, getting it done right ensures at the end of the day that the results are fair, as fair as possible, really, for the factual situation at hand, that the result is a good result, it's good for their kids, it's good for them, and they can move on in such a way that at the end of the day they don't have a whole lot of regrets in terms of looking back at the case and thinking, wow, if I'd only really let the case take a little more time, if I'd only been just a tad bit more patient, I might have gotten this case done right versus quick and at a low cost. So, again, there's not a bright line rule. Obviously, it's different for different folks, and anybody going through a divorce or family law case, what's most important is to get an attorney who practices family law, that understands the ins and outs of it and can give you the best particular advice for your individual situation. So that's key number one. But just being, taking all situations and saying all things being equal is a general rule, getting it done right is better than getting it done quick. And again, everybody's got to analyze their own particular situation and make their own choice. But all things being equal, getting it done right is better than getting it done quick is a family law attorney who's seen lots of cases. And so this is just my humble opinion, but let me tell you why, which is some folks get into kind of the speed race mentality. They want to get the case done quick, and they've got kids and they've got assets at stake, right? And it's a painful process, one they don't particularly enjoy, and so they just want to move on and be done with it, close a chapter on it and move on, so they think. The problem is agreeing to a settlement deal that at the end of the day is bad. What that oftentimes results in is more disputes, more fighting between the parties. Take kids, for example. A bad custody schedule, a bad parenting plan that isn't well thought out can lead to more disputes, more fighting. And so if you have kids, you're not done with the other parent simply by getting divorced. You're going to have to work together in terms of custody of the kids until the kids become adults. And so a bad parenting plan or a bad custody schedule can result in a lot of parties coming back to court trying to modify that. Take a child support number. Party agrees to maybe a child support number that's either too high or too low, for example, maybe one that isn't based on really the current state of affairs. And so party agrees to maybe take a little bit too less and too little in child support, for example, or they agree to pay more than they could possibly afford in child support just to get the case done. And what does that result in? It results in parties coming back to court trying to mend those child support orders, and it's the same for spousal support. Some people maybe accept a lower amount than what they need in order to meet their reasonable needs, or an individual agrees to pay too much, so much that they can't afford it, and then they get behind, and that results in them having to come back to court. So again, every situation is different. Everybody's got to go to an attorney and analyze the unique situation because, again, every case is totally different. But as a general rule, simply trying to get a case done quick, get it done cheap, what that often results in is repeat visits back to the courthouse, more disputes, and at the end of the day, what this can do is end up costing you more money in the long run. So if the whole motive was get it done quick, get it done cheap, get it done fast, oftentimes that whole goal goes by the wayside, because what ends up happening is repeat visits to court, which doesn't end the situation, and then more court appearances results in more attorney fees. And so more attorney fees doesn't equate to getting it done cheap or affordably. And so, again, at the end of the day, I would just say to the listeners, no absolute right or wrong answer, but all things being equal, certainly my humble opinion is that clients ought to look at situations from the viewpoint that getting it done right at the end of the day in most situations is really the best call and is the best option for most folks out there. So that is the topic here today, getting it done right versus getting it done cheap. And again, as a follow-up to the episode today, you can go to familylawheadquarters.com, read the article titled For Most, Seek the Best Possible Result. And again, the date of the article is January 30th, 2015. So again, thanks to all the listeners for tuning in today with Family Law Talk with Stange Law Firm. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Family Law Talk with Kirk Stange. Visit StangeLawFirm.com for more about today's topic, or to put Stange Law Firm to work for your family today.
How's your money feeling? It's about to feel happier with a certificate from Happy Money's partner, Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. Elevate and increase your savings with 18-month terms and only a $500 minimum. And the happiest part? MSU FCU certificates yield 4.5% APY annual percentage yield. Now that's a happier side of money. Elevate your savings. Go to happymoney.com/MSUFCU. That's MSUFCU. Funds insured up to $250,000 by NCUA. The APY is accurate as of the 12/1/2023 dividend declaration date. Early withdrawal penalties do apply. Fees may reduce earnings on the account. Any monthly withdrawals or transfers reduce earnings.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.